You ever put your phone down after a long scrolling session and just feel awful, totally drained? Well, today we're going to get into exactly why that happens. It's all about something called dopamine burnout. So picture this. It all starts so simply, right? You've got a couple of minutes free, you're waiting in line, or you're just trying to unwind after a long day. So you pull out your phone. And for a little while, it feels like it's working. I mean, you're entertained, you laugh at a few videos, you see something interesting. That endless feed just pulls you in, and before you know it, an hour has completely vanished. But the moment you look up from the screen, that good feeling is gone. And what's left is this weird, hollow sensation. You feel kind of foggy, dissatisfied, maybe even a little anxious. The crazy part is, you actually feel worse than before you started. So why? Why does something that's supposed to be fun and engaging leave us feeling so completely empty? That is the big question, and the answer has everything to do with the chemistry inside your own brain. All right, so the first piece of the puzzle is all about a really powerful chemical in your brain and what happens when it gets completely overwhelmed. We're talking about the dopamine crash. And here's the most important thing to get right away. Scrolling on your phone isn't relaxation, not even close. Your brain isn't taking a break. It's actually sprinting a marathon, trying to process this insane, nonstop flood of new information. Now, at the heart of all this is dopamine. The easiest way to think about it is like a little reward signal from your brain. When you see something new or interesting, your brain releases a bit of it, and it basically says, hey, that was cool. Do that again. And this is why social media feeds are so addictive. They are basically perfect dopamine machines. Every single swipe, every single scroll gives you something totally new. A new video, a new picture, a new opinion, and each one triggers another one of those little dopamine hits. It's an endless chain of reward. But of course, there is a catch. Your brain is smart, and it starts to adapt. That first funny video you see, it feels amazing, a huge reward. The 10th one? It's pretty good. But by the time you've seen 100, the feeling is barely there. Your brain is getting tired of the trick. It's becoming desensitized. And this right here is the fundamental problem with scrolling. You keep swiping, chasing that great feeling you got from the first few videos, but the more you chase it, the weaker the reward gets. All that constant stimulation is literally burning out your ability to feel satisfied. The end result? Your entire baseline for what feels good gets lowered. After your brain has been mainlining these super intense digital hits, the simple, quiet joys of real life, like reading a book or just going for a walk, they just can't measure up. They feel slow. They feel boring. And we're not just talking about a temporary mood change. This process is actively rewiring the connections in your brain. It's damaging your ability to focus and your ability to feel a genuine sense of accomplishment. I mean, just think about the physical act of scrolling. You are literally training your brain to jump from one thing to the next in just a few seconds. And you're rewarding that jumpy behavior with a little hit of dopamine over and over until the very idea of focusing on one single thing starts to feel wrong. And this is such a critical point. For a brain that's used to that constant scrolling, trying to focus on one task isn't just difficult, it becomes genuinely uncomfortable. It can feel physically agitating, like an itch you can't scratch, because your brain is just screaming for the next hit of something new. So in this world we live in, this world of constant pings and notifications, the simple ability to focus deeply on one thing is becoming a kind of superpower. We're actively unlearning one of the most important skills for doing deep work, for learning anything new, or for creating anything of real value. But there's another, sneakier trick at play here. All of that swiping and tapping and consuming information, it feels like you're doing something, doesn't it? It has the sensation of being busy, of being productive. But when that hour is up, what do you actually have to show for it? So often, the answer is just nothing. You didn't learn a new skill, you didn't create anything, you didn't solve a problem. The time is just gone. And deep down, your brain knows this. It recognizes this massive gap between all the energy you just spent and the fact that you have zero to show for it. That hollow feeling you get? That's the emptiness. It's your brain's alarm bell telling you that something is seriously out of balance. Okay, so if the problem is a totally overstimulated, rewired brain, then what on earth is the solution? Well, it's actually way simpler and maybe a little harder than you might think. It's about finding the power in doing absolutely nothing. So the first thing you have to do is make a big mental shift. It is so easy to finish a scrolling session and think, ugh, my life is so boring. But that feeling is a symptom. It's not the actual disease.
The real problem isn't that your life is boring. The real problem is that your brain's threshold for what it considers interesting has been artificially jacked up to an impossible level. So the cure isn't a more exciting life. It's giving your brain a chance to heal.
And here's the amazing news. Your brain can and will reset itself. When you deliberately cut back on that fire hose of digital noise, incredible things start to happen. Your dopamine levels start to go back to normal. That thing you used to call boredom starts to feel peaceful, and the simple things in life actually start to feel good again.
Just let that one sink in for a second. All those hours you thought you were chilling out, de-stressing, you were actually doing the exact opposite. You were burning out the very circuits in your brain that allow you to feel joy and satisfaction in the first place.
At first, when you put the phone down and just sit in silence, it can feel really weird. It can feel empty, maybe even a little stressful. But that silence isn't actually a void. It's the space that your brain desperately needs to recover, to reset itself, and to finally rediscover how rich and beautiful the world is right outside the screen.